Showtime!
I don't think I'm gonna go to LA anymore. I don't think I'm gonna go to LA anymore. I don't know what it's like to let it not reach to your door. I don't think I'm gonna go to LA anymore. And I'm gonna steer clear, burn up in your atmosphere. I'm gonna steer clear, cause I'd die if I saw you, die if I didn't see that.
Welcome everyone to the Rosie and Bill Show. Our guest this week comes from one of the most beautiful areas of the country, Northwest Montana. Now, there may not be a lot of beachfront property there, but his new single will take you to sandy places in your mind with shades on your face and a cool drink in your hand. Please welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show, one of Nashville's fastest rising stars, Jarod Grubb. Jarod, welcome to the show.
Oh man, thanks for having me. I'm digging what you got going on right now. You're right in there.
Hey, well, we'll get into this a little bit later, but one of my lifelong ambitions is to become a member of the Tiki Team.
Okay.
So, and we'll
That's
talk
a big,
about that.
It's going to be a commitment, but we'll get there.
Okay. Well, we want to start right off with that new single that I just referenced, Tiki Bar on the Beach. Now, It's one of the catchiest tunes Rosie and I have heard in a long time. And we have to ask,
Thanks.
what inspired the song, Jarod, and what's the reaction been to it so far?
I have to tell you, like you said, I grew up in the Rocky Mountains in Northwest Montana, so it doesn't make any sense, but I've always been obsessed with the beach. So I actually wrote this right after I moved to Nashville. So I was thinking of chasing the dream was fresh on my mind. So it was the first song I wrote after moving, and it was fresh on my mind. So I honestly just asked myself the question in this songwriting exercise. I was trying to just get back into the songwriting flow, and I just asked the question, kind of like Chris Jansen, what would I do, if I had $1 million, if I had the dough? And the answer is, you could find me probably somewhere in Florida with a beach house. And if you wanted to locate me, just come to the Tiki Hut or whatever Tiki Bar was nearby, kind of like Cheers on the beach. And I'd have my own bar stool with my name on it. You could find me way down south at the Tiki Bar on the beach is how the song goes. So that's it. It's really just about my dream of having a beach house and living the dream on the beach, surfside.
Wow, that sounds like a really nice dream. We may want to tag along on that one.
Yeah, and on Chris Jansen's boat too. That's a great combination. His boat, your Tiki Bar, doesn't get any better than that.
If we could somehow do a mashup of the songs and then also actually do that, I think that's the ideal.
How much fun was it shooting the video, and where did you shoot?
It was an absolute blast. I think the key was how easy and fun the director and the videographer, Andrew Chiaroscuro, I'm probably not saying that right, how great he made it. Cairo Productions is his company. And he just made it, I know he was probably stressed out because it was like a 13 or 14 hour shoot. And he just made it easy. And all the extras and the actors, it felt like the Tiki Bar. And we were at a Tiki Bar called the Tiki Cove in Land O'Lakes, Florida, where I don't think they make butter. I think it's just a coincidence. But it was at the Tiki Cove. Yeah. Cool spot. Very nice people. And just a blast.
That's fun. How did it feel to see that kind of come full circle? and be like a complete package for you?
It was good, you know, during the life of a song, um, and you know, as I've gotten to the point where I'm releasing music on national radio, it's cool just to see the whole process, especially for a larger audience. And then, yeah, it's kind of nerve wracking because you're like, is this from the producer, you know, of the song? Like, is this gonna? And in fact, when it was first produced, I had this incredible team of Nashville studio guys play on it, but it sounded like a John Mayer, which I love John Mayer, big fan, but it sounded like a John Mayer blues song. I'm like, this is incredible, but doesn't feel like the Tiki Bar. So we had to go back in. And same thing with the video, you're kind of nervous, like how's it gonna turn out? And so there's that aspect of you hope you're not wasting your time and money on something. But so when the end result comes in, you love it. It's just the relief, and it's exciting, especially early on in my career. I think it's just exciting.
Well, congratulations. And I'll tell you, you really sound great as well. Your voice is really smooth.
Thanks for the compliment.
You're welcome.
Well, now, Jarod, your music has been compared to Jimmy Buffett, and your vocals have been likened to James Taylor, which is pretty strong company to be in. But with the way your music has evolved, would you say it's a departure to some degree from some of your past music, or is it just the way you've evolved?
It really is an evolution. I kind of go from project to project. A lot of people will just write and write and write. I like to go, I'll write a group and then stew on it, learn the songs, and live a little life, you know, and then I'll take on another, you know, I'll start writing again. So I don't know how much time passes in between, could be 3 or 6 months. And so, yeah, and each time it depends on, it's kind of arbitrary, or it's just like what I'm listening to, how I'm feeling, you know, that's it really. But yeah, to be compared to those guys is incredible. I do playing live in Nashville almost every week. Somebody goes, do you realize you sound like James Taylor? I mean, all the time, almost daily, which is great. He's one of my all-time favorites. He's one of everyone's all-time favorites. You know,
That's huge. That's huge, really. You said something interesting about I live a little life. How important is that in your creative process and inspiration to write songs?
For me, it's the most important, because that's why I write songs anyway. I mean, it's therapeutic, A, and then B, to connect with listeners. I think if you're trying to drudge out material all the time, the river really does run dry. I mean, you don't, you know, and you're looking around like, kind of like do you remember Willie Nelson's, one of his first cuts was, he was just looking around in the songwriting room and he was just like, hello, walls. Do you remember that? That was his first line. That's how he started the song. And I'm a huge Willie fan. But to me, if you're just writing all the time, that's what it comes down to. Like, oh, hello, light. Like, what am I just going to start? I love lamp, you know, what am I just going to start saying random things, or things that really have meaning? So for me, I mean, I haven't written for a while since this last batch, and I'm just about to start another one. And I have pages and pages of notes and voice recordings, because I've lived since my pandemic writing session. Everyone's got a pandemic album going, you know. So since that, I have tons of material that I'm just chomping at the bit to write, as opposed to I'm reaching for something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think one song that might be good to like end the pandemic album might be something like "Goodbye Mask" or something like that. Have that be like the last song, or "It's great to be back playing again."
Yeah, right.
Well, Jarod, you started in college playing baseball, right? A lot of people may not realize that, but in between games, in between classes, you were writing songs. What made you go from the baseball diamond to the recording studio?
I honestly, I mean, I gave it the college try to play professional baseball. Does that even make sense? But when I came up short, I mean, I played a little bit of independent ball back in Ohio, and it's funny because when I got released from the little semi-pro team I was playing for, the family, we stayed with host families, you know, because that's what you do in minor league ball at that level, and the host family I was staying with and my roommate, who's one of my all-time best friends, just huge music people. So honestly, we more look forward to after the game in their backyard in their screen room, after all the games and or whatever and practices, we'd go back to where I was staying in the screen room, and I'd play guitar till like 3 or 4 in the morning almost every day. And then I got released, and the family was such a musical fan. I mean, we all love country music, and they actually immediately, I mean, I was pretty broken up because my baseball dream was crushed. I could have tried to go try out, but I was already 25, and it was time to move on. And right away, that family paid for a little recording session. There's a really good recording studio that is notorious in Southern Ohio. And so they paid for a little recording session, kind of just to lift my spirits up, I guess, and just to have something we were a special group, the family and my roommate and that team. And so they all kind of just wanted something to remember our time together with. So I was right in the studio after getting cut. And then it's a long story of how I got to Nashville, but it was kind of like, hey, here's what you should be doing. I didn't really pick up the hint for years after that. But
you know what, though, Jarod, one thing I'm curious about with baseball, and then I want to come back to that, where we want to come back to that Nashville transition. But if you would have continued with baseball and somehow made it to the major leagues, what position would you have been playing, and what team, if you could pick whatever team you'd want to draft you, what team might that be?
So I wasn't even really good. I was just super fast. So my natural position was center field. I'd be a center fielder, definitely. And just a leadoff guy. Kind of like do you remember Brett Butler back with the Giants and the Dodgers?
Yeah.
It's like a short game guy who's fast and plays center field. That was totally me. And so, gosh, as far as a team goes, I mean, when you're at that level, you don't care who drafts you. You're just looking for a job, just like me. Like, you're just looking for a job. And you know what? I worked for the Red Sox for a couple years after I scouted for them for a couple years after that. And so my choice would be the Red Sox, just because I really enjoyed working for them and I had some good relationships in the Sox family. But really, I'd take anything. Like, anywhere you can get a job is great at that level.
Jarod, you migrated from Montana to Nashville. What was that transition like for you? And what was it like to play the world-renowned Tootsies in Nashville?
Well, there were many, many stops in between Montana and Nashville. But so I went down to Texas for a while to try and cut down to make a long story medium. I was down in Texas. I was running a baseball academy with my buddy, my best friend, Corey, who actually played in the big leagues for a while. He was with the Washington Nationals. And so we were doing a baseball academy, and then he moved back up to Oregon. And then during that time, I started to play out down in Texas. And then I moved up to Boise, Idaho to help my coach, who was with the Cubs at the time, my coach from college. And I was helping him run his baseball academy. And then I met a guy named Gary Tackett. Gary was Billy Currington's first lead guitar player and tour manager. And he invited me to do like a little songwriter thing and showcase thing in Boise. And I played a few. And after a few songs, he was like, man, you just got to, what are you doing here? He loved the song. So he's like, you got to just go to Nashville. So that was a major catalyst. That was kind of the last straw to hear somebody with some credibility in the industry, validate my songwriting and performance. And so he hooked me up with, he's still a great friend, Gary Tackett, incredible guitar player, like off the charts. And he hooked me up with, all his buddies. and I did my freshman album here. So that was a transition to Nashville. And literally after I met Gary, it was like I quit my job, and 3 weeks later I was in Nashville with no plan and limited funds, which is super smart, but not planned out well. And then after a little bit, I did my album, and then I was actually Tootsie's. They call it the Tootsie Circuit because Tootsie's owns Rippy's, Honky Tonk Central, Kid Rock's, and so I was at Rippy's. I was dancing with a girlfriend of mine, and the lead singer called me Tiny Dancer or something, and so we had a little witty banter back and forth. I challenged him to play it. He wouldn't. So I got up and played it and sang it. And the drummer was the lady, Anita Hill, just a sweet lady from South Dakota. She was running the auditions for Tootsie's. So she's like, why don't you come in on Saturday? And then I got hired right on the spot. And so very exciting, new in town, the best, the most world famous honky tonk. And then all of a sudden, it was literally, and the next day after the audition, our entertainment director's like, hey, bring your guitar tomorrow. I was like, wow, we're really doing it. And then you're on the same stage that Willie Nelson was hanging out, and Chris Christopherson and Patsy Cline. And so you just get that nostalgic feeling, and you're wide-eyed anyways, being new in town. Pretty neat, pretty cool.
That's a great adrenaline rush and validation of your move.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard so many stories of musicians coming to Nashville, and firsthand friends of mine that have come and not had a great experience. And so, yeah, to get that validation makes you keep going,
Well, Jarod, there's one thing you kind of touched on earlier, and I can't help but think it's probably a big reason why you're enjoying the success that you are. And I think there's a lot more yet to come. And that's the way you connect with your audience. That's really important to you, isn't it?
It's the number one thing over how well I play the song or what my voice sounds like, which are also important issues. I'm not going to lie to you, but the number one thing is just that. Yeah. Like the person to person connection. I mean, I talk way too much at my shows just because of that. I want to know where they're coming from, what their story is, if it's their first time in Nashville, or even if I'm not playing in Nashville, what are they doing here? And then what songs, like if you play me like Sweet Baby James, I'm like butter, like that. I just got goosebumps now just saying the title. So what is that song for them, and to break through that shyness. And then we can all just hang out like I did with my college baseball buddies after games, which is what it really should be about. It's just like hanging out and having a good time, not some official show, that you're trying to put on. And so, yeah, that I just love it when you connect on the same song that we both know and we both love, or especially if it's one of my songs that they really get into. I mean, that's the ultimate because it comes from me, but hopefully there'll be more of that in the future.
Well, that's an interesting point that you just make, and it segues right into my next question. If you were to paint a picture,
I didn't know that.
If you were to paint a picture of success, what would that look like for you?
Do you mean specifically in the music industry?
It could be both, but I guess in the music industry, but I'm interested in what you feel it is in your life.
I mean, the answer is, you can find the answer in my song entitled The Tiki Bar on the Beach.
Okay.
Literally, that's not a fake, that's really what I would be doing. I would have a tiki bar on the, I would have a beach house somewhere tropical. That's always been my dream. And again, it's weird because I grew up in right next to Glacier National Park. So maybe I just got my fill of the mountains, but so I know if I've got a beach house, I've arrived at least partially at where I want. But then I would I would like a mountain getaway, like some spot in like a condo in Whitefish, Montana, so I could go up and ski and my family could hang out at it, and maybe a few other spots. I've always really liked Venice, Italy. So I think my ultimate dream is just that, is to have my home base on the beach somewhere, And then I have some other spots that I could get out to, you know. Yeah, one in Europe, maybe one back home in Montana. I don't know if you ever hung out in Canada. Canada's pretty sweet, you know what I mean? And I grew up sailing, which is also, it seems like a misnomer because I'm in Montana, but we have Flathead Lake, which is the largest freshwater lake. You know, have you been up there at all, you guys?
I've been to Gardner, Montana, by
Yeah.
Yellowstone, northeast entrance of
Oh
Yellowstone.
yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
So we have Flathead Lake. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say it was. I would go back in a heartbeat. That's why when I let off the show tonight, Jarod, I talked about it being one of the most beautiful areas of the country because as a kid living most of my life in the Philadelphia area, those sites just blew me away.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. So yeah, I would have a home base like that. Oh, I was just saying. So I grew up sailing on Flathead Lake, and when I say that, people are like, "What? You're from Montana? There's no sailing." And so I would definitely, that near the, you know, moored out near my beach house would be the sailboat. And I kind of want it set up so I could sail to the Caribbean when needed. You know, Jimmy Buffett's got a similar setup, and he's a pilot also, which is another dream of mine. If I could do 10% of what Jimmy Buffett's done, I think that would be a great success.
That's awesome. Now, before we wrap things up, Jarod, I've got to ask a question. We kind of touched on it, and this is now going to be added to one of my personal definitions of success. If I can someday make the Tiki Team. So can you maybe give us a little insight as to what it might take? What kind of intestinal fortitude, physical prowess, what might it take to be a member of that team? And do you think either one of us has what it takes?
A lot of people are putting that on their bucket list. Like you said, make the Tiki Team. It's a big ad in 2021. And you said it, you do need intestinal fortitude. You got to show, it's got to be a display of heart and not just a physical display, but there are, you know, you got to dig deep. So there's it's a rigorous testing process, really. We do have a course set up local, but we'll also do it remote. We could do it remote. There's no bounds now with Zoom and what have you. And so I think the team's going to come out with a spreadsheet as far as just the things you need to do physically. And then, like we said, you have to show the heart. I mean, it's a lot about, yeah.
You got this. One more data, please save. You're there. You're there. Click the link. Click it.
I guess, and the end goal really is like, how efficiently can you do this with your Mai Tai whilst on your back there? That's similar, yeah. Not bad.
Girls.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get more
different
used
angles.
Yeah, you never know what's going to be invasive in this process. So, thanks for asking about the Tiki Team.
Well, Jarod, before we wrap things up, we want to play a little game or a segment. It's more of a segment. It's called Rapid Fire. And we're just going to throw a bunch of questions at you and just, you know, answer them off the top of your head or whatever. So, Bill, I'm going to let you start.
Okay, this is a baseball one. Do you think Major League Baseball should continue with the 7-inning games and doubleheaders beyond this year?
No. Baseball purist, just like a music purist. I just love the guitar and the voice, and I just love the 9 innings and 3 strikes and the tradition of it. I don't like we should think more carefully about breaking tradition.
I agree.
100%.
I like that. Good answer. What would be your go-to drink at the Tiki Bar?
Oh, go-to drink. It depends on the location. It's funny you asked this because this question is in our questionnaire for the Tiki Team. So as the as the founder, I'm well prepared for this. So, if I'm down in like a Cuba or like even Mexico, depending on Mexico, it's a michelada. You got to go michelada. You got to go a little spice, little tequila, little beer. If it's early in the day, it's just Bloody Mary. I mean, it's pre 3 p.m. Just definitely. And then, and if you're just out of that 3 p.m. area, you got to go something sweet, but only one, like a good pina colada. I just had a good one down in Margaritaville. Wow. And then after that, late night, it's either the land shark, depending on your mood and what you've been doing, or it's the just a good tequila, like a Casamigos, just with tequila, water, and lime.
How about a loaded land shark, Jarod? Have you ever had one of those?
No, I haven't had a loaded one.
Yeah, you take a shot of tequila, you put it in your land shark, you load it up, you get the best of both worlds.
Boom. That's what I'm taught. That's Tiki Team material right there. We're touching on it a lot.
I think Bill's an honorary member of the Tiki Team. Look at his shirt. I mean, he's all in.
Bill, I shouldn't be saying this, but you're a shoo-in. I mean, I don't want to build you up and then not have you not make it for some reason on your first try, but you're a shoo-in. You're in there.
I appreciate it.
Especially
I won't let you down.
Ranch.
I promise. I will represent the team well and 110% each and every day.
I see that. I'm learning from you even right now. And that's the thing, no matter what tier of the Tiki Team you're at, you can learn from other members about your Tiki professionalism. So
all right. We've got just a couple of more rapid fire questions here to plow through, but thank you for making me the honorary member. I'm so looking forward to my first tasks and activities with the team. But Jarod, if you could tour with anyone in the music business, who would it be?
It's definitely Kenny Chess, because I think that we share the same audience. The No Shoes Nation are the same peeps. When I was at Jimmy Buffett a week ago, I looked around and I was like, these are my people. I'm right at home. That crew, they're just so much fun. They're a blast.
Who's going to win the World Series this year?
Oh my gosh. It's supposed to be rapid fire. I haven't been watching much.
That's okay. There's a team that's below Boston, below New York, and above where the Nationals play, and east of where the Pirates play that might be have a good shot.
I think you're referring to the New York, the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yes.
I don't know where I came up with that.
Yeah.
Just now.
Great answer. That may have been your best answer, Jarod.
Yeah, I know. And I apologize. It took me a while to get there, but
don't let the 500 record fool you. And the bullpen starts every third game. It's just a mirage. We're just letting everybody else get confident for that second half comeback that's about to happen.
Lulling everyone to sleep and then pow.
That's your limbo right there. They're the limbo team.
That's right. We're in limbo.
Coming in under the bar for now, and then look out.
Well, Jarod, this has been so much fun. One last question.
Okay.
Are you going to close out the show for us with a song?
Yeah.
Because I think our viewers want to hear Tiki Bar on the Beach.
I love that they want to hear that, and we can do that. We can deliver. Right. Why would we not on the Tiki Team? Why? That's what we do. We deliver whatever you need at the time.
Well, let's get it done. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And you are a rising star, and we are really happy to have you here and wish you all the best.
Oh man, I love you guys. I enjoyed the interview. I feel like we connected today. Thank you for that.
And that's what it's all about, folks. We thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. And Jarod Grubb.
Don't you ever wonder what your life would be like if you weren't caught under the weight of the dollars we're chasing like rats we're all racing around? Would you get up and wander, buy a house in the Hollywood Hills? I know where I'd be if what I'm thinking turns into the real. You could find me way down south at the Tiki Bar on the beach, music playing in the background, all the waves and the wind, the palm trees. If you want, you could come on down, live life like a breeze at the Tiki Bar on the beach. The tides and the beacons, sometimes I find myself daydreaming about sipping my ties on my own maritime. And you could come down too, I'll buy the first one and you can buy round two. We'll never leave the sand till we set our sails to another land. You could find me way down south at the Tiki Bar on the beach, music playing in the background, all the waves and the wind, the palm trees. If you want, you could come on down, live life like a breeze at the Tiki Bar on the beach. People say it can't be done, you just wait for it, son. That day when my ship comes in.